Education Welfare Service and my colleague Emma Hamilton.
Hello.
Okay, so this is video 2. We're still looking at penalty notices and the penalty notice process. This video, we're going to focus on the forms that you need to be completing to send in to the local authority, Devon County Council, so that they can consider sending out a penalty notice. So first off, the first form that you'll be completing is the PR1. Over to you, Emma.
So before you complete this, I would advise you to get all the necessary paperwork together, the evidence. So you will need a copy of the S2 that has been photocopied and you have kept for evidence, a copy of the warning letter if you have also issued a warning letter in both September and April, and a copy of the refusal of a holiday if you have issued that. So if you've got all of them, that's great. Put them together. You will also need to get a registration certificate, and this needs to have the date, the evidence 2 weeks prior to the absence was taken, the period of absence, and about 2 weeks after the child has returned. So evidences the child has returned from school.
And that's the registration certificate.
That is the registration.
BINS or ARBA or whatever system they're using.
Yes, it must be the legal registration certificate because it could be presented in court, and that is the legal document that is required. So once you have got that registration certificate, that will give you all the data for the period you're going to cite in these forms. And that's all the information you're going to need. In this form, this here is the PR1. I would suggest completing this one first of all. These forms can all be downloaded from the Devon County Council website. I've highlighted all the parts that as a school you are expected to complete. So you would put in the pupil's name, the pupil's date of birth, and their current year group that they are in. You would also have a certificate of school attendance, which would be signed by the head teacher and dated by the head teacher. So pop that in there. We find most of the time they are completed on the same day.
And that's the PR3 form.
That is the PR3 form, also known as head teacher certificate. You would then put in the details of the parents. So first name, if you have it, that is ideal, because if it goes to court, they do need parents' first name. So parents' first names.
Minimum initial.
Preferably full name, but yes, minimal initial.
Absolute minimum.
But if it does go to court, we would need the full name because they cannot issue any legal proceedings without a full name.
So basically full name.
Yeah. Date of birth, if you have it, not vital, but I know sometimes parents do provide it on some school forms. If you've got the date of birth of the parents, that would be good. Relationship, mother, father, stepfather, stepmother, put that in there, and their address. Section 4, that would be, have they had a written warning? So hopefully that the answer to that will be yes, they've had a written warning. They are also included. If there hasn't been a written warning, obviously that would be no. You would need to be aware that all Devon County Council would be able to do is issue a warning letter. They will not issue a penalty notice unless there is a legal warning prior to the absence being taken. Come down to section 5. This is details of who would provide the full witness statement and who would attend court on behalf of school. If you use the Education Welfare Service at Devon County Council, this would be your school EWO. So you would put their name in and their email address. So such as for myself, it would be emma.hamilton@devon.gov.uk. In here, section 6, this is just for you to know that you've got all the information. So you've got the PR1, the PR3, which is the head teacher certificate, a registration certificate with the required dates, and a copy of any of the written warnings, S2, warning letters, letters dated September and April, or the refusal of the holiday. Any and all, please attach. Then they require some background information. So they ask, are you aware of any medical conditions? Yes or no, you should have that information. Was the absence connected to a family bereavement or other exceptional circumstances? again, you will have that information. If the answer to either 7 or 8 is yes, they do require further information below. They also require knowledge of if the child is on a child protection plan or classed as child in need. If they are, please put the social worker's details in there. Section 10 is the table. So the first part is during the period quoted on the attendance. So that should also be on your registration certificate. They're asking how many unauthorised absences the child had and how many authorised absences the child had. The second row, if you are citing 6 weeks, which is usually about the time, 2 weeks before a period of absence and 2 weeks after, they are then asking for a 12-week period. So just go back another half a term, put the period cited in there, and again, put in the number of unauthorised absences and any authorised absences that could be down to illness, medical appointments, put those in there. If you have any other information, such as why the child was absent, if it was down to a bereavement, if it was down to anything else, please put that information in there. Come down, date it, sign it, put the name of the person completing the form, their telephone number, and what their contact detail is. So that's one of the forms completed. The second form is what we refer to as the head teacher certificate, also known as the PR3. This is the one that is signed by the head teacher. So again, you put the name of the pupil, the date of birth of the pupil, name and address of the parents that you've already cited in the previous form, the name of the school or college you are at and your DFE number. They do need that as well, and the name of your head teacher. Then you can take this information from the registration certificate. The dates must match the dates cited on here, exactly the same. You cannot start a registration certificate in a holiday. It has to start in school time. They must match. So the date on the registration certificate, must match 1st of November 2022 to the 16th of the 1st, 2023. Out of here, 60 half-day sessions, you would put how many sessions the child attended. So they would have attended 40 sessions. And during that period, there were 20 sessions of unauthorised absences, which would be the 2 weeks. Come down to the bottom. Again, that would be dated and signed by the head teacher. If you do have any queries at any time on how to complete a penalty notice form, you can always contact your EWO, who would be able to advise.
Brilliant. So just to recap then, if we go back to that PR1, that tells us all the forms that we need to fill in and get sent back. And basically that's number 6 on the PR1. So if you've got those documents, basically that's what you need to make sure that you've got and you're sending off to Devon County Council, and then jobs are good. Okay, so I think that wraps it up for that. That's the 2 videos, one on the things that you need to have as part of your process in schools, and then this is the second video on how to fill out those forms. So hopefully now you've got that sussed out completely. Any problems, you can contact us, and best of luck with the penalty notices.
Hope it helps.